Okay, we're going to look at overloaded constructors and see how those work. So I already have two classes created, and what I'm going to do in my student class is make a constructor, and then I'm going to make another constructor for the student class, and that is in essence overloading it. So a constructor is an entry point into that class, kind of like the main method. Well, a constructor is where uh, it when it first enters the class, this is the first place it's going to go, and the constructor has the same name as the class. And I called it public, but constructors are always public, so don't really need to put that. Okay. Whoops. And it's a method, so I need to put the parentheses on the end of that. Alright. And for the first one, let's just have it say tab. And let's do this again. But this time, well, let's make the constructor. Let's see. And you notice that what I'm doing is and I'm going to change these. I'm just going to call this one L name, and this one ID number, and that way I won't have to replace all of these. I can just use this as a okay. So I need to make this a code block. And I can assign each one of these. I can assign a value to each one of these. Okay. So I have two constructors now. You notice that the constructors have the same name as the class. So both of these. So the entry point is going to be either here or it's going to be here, depending on which one of these constructors I use. Now let's go ahead and actually use one of these. I'm going to collapse this class down. This student class is a class with the constructors in it, and I'm going to open up something I'll call the driver class, which has the main method in it. And within the main method, okay, so for first student, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use in what order did I have those in? ID numbers, so I'm going to say 123, comma, Anderson, comma, 3.2. Okay. This is not really a usable example, but it is an example of using overloaded constructors. Now that I've got those in there, I'm going to, don't need those anymore because I'm passing those. Okay, so I have an overloaded constructor here. Here I'm using the constructor, the empty constructor, and it's telling me that it's overloaded ones. And so here's the other the other constructor, and it's saying an integer value, a string value, and a double value. Okay, so I've got all three of those. Okay, so now when I run this, I'm putting in 1, 2, 3, Anderson, and 3.2 for the first student. But what I'm going to get is something a little different. Now I'm going to run this. Okay, I didn't mean for it to be that different. For the first one, has an ID of 0 and a double data type of 00 and a blank for the name. So I need to change something up here. So I need to go find that. Okay, well, this was wrong. I shouldn't have done it this way. I should have done it the other way. So I need to change these. Okay, so this I'm setting equal to ID number, last name, and grade point average. So ID number, there it is, property. It's got the little wrench in front of it, so I know it's a property. Okay, tab, and that's what I'm going to assign there. Same thing. Well, I don't want the property, do I? I want the variable. And same thing for last name. I want to set that. And grade point average, there we go. Okay, that's better. Okay, so here's what I'm doing, is that when I'm calling this constructor, I'm sending those values in. So back in our driver, let me look down here, back in my driver, what I'm doing is that I'm sending these values in. And let me change these. Okay. So those are the values that I'm sending in. So depending on which constructor I call, in this case for the first student, I'm calling this constructor. So I should be sending this ID, this name, and this grade point average. So up here in my constructor, where'd it go? In my constructor, so I'm sending those in. That should be 999, that should be whatever the last name is that I sent, and this should be the grade point average that I sent in. So I'm assigning those to these variables. It's never used. Okay. L name is being assigned to last name. ID number, grade point average is being assigned to that one. All right. let's see if that runs. So debug, start debugging. Whoops. Okay, that seemed to have fixed it, but I'm not sure why. Okay, that's better. Okay, so that's an example of an overloaded constructor.